Welcome back to Area DMG. I am your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Suki Nihon for Area DMG, we are looking at episode 24 of Ace Attorney, the anime. This would be Farewell My Turnabout, Last Trial. And this will be our last episode of Ace Attorney that we review. I want to thank you for sticking through these if you've been watching them from the beginning. If you haven't, go back and watch them. They're in a playlist and they're perfectly fantastic. I also recommend that you check out our other reviews. Everything we review so far has been video game related in some way, and we'll continue to review animation related to popular video games, specifically if those video games are in any way coming to any of the portables. Like we finished up Berserk, and that's coming to the Vita. We're finishing up Ace Attorney, which is on the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo 3DS, iOS last I checked, and I think there was supposed to be a Steam release at some point. It's also on the Wii, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth it with the 6th game in the series having come out really recently. And totally being worth it. Did I mention it's worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. Anyways, we watched this on Crunchyroll. I was using the alternate subtitles that are available there if you're watching on Crunchyroll, which give you the English names and translations. Although, if you're watching it, like I also watched it on the PS4, you can't actually choose those subtitles anywhere other than a PC, which is kind of unfortunate if you ask me. But yeah, I've been pretty thrilled with this series so far. Let's get into this episode. We're on the final episode of this. Hopefully this will do well enough that they make another season, because I really need to see Trials and Tribulations animated. Particularly, you need to meet Dahlia. You need to meet Godot. You need to see what happens. Because the last case in the 3rd game is incredible. It is such a good payoff, and there's little bits and pieces of what's been here in this first season that could lead into that. I mean, just sorry, it just takes my breath away how well some of these have kind of translated. I mean, it's been a little rough here and there, but overall I've been really happy with this series. So let's get into this. Shelley the Killer testifies with a remote device, and they also find a copy of they also find a copy of the disc that Maya left. You see, there was a little bit of stuff where Gumshoe finds it, and he gets into a car accident, rushing over to give it to Phoenix, and like I said, the killer tries to pin the crime on Adrian by saying that Adrian might be his client. He kind of messes up because, remember, Adrian Andrews, she has a very masculine name despite being very obviously female. That was kind of what they're going for. You know, biology. Biology. But it looks like none of this is going to work, and it looks like Matt Ingard is going to be declared not guilty. But right before that happens, Franziska von Karma shows up, yells objection, and gets the disc to Phoenix Wright. Now, the judge doesn't need the disc, but Shelley the Killer does. And so, after showing the disc and the contents of the disc to Shelley the Killer's machine, he finds out that, well, Matt Ingard intended to betray him, and breaking that trust, well, Matt Ingard has a interesting little thing. He can be found guilty and put to death, because that's what happens in this world, or he can be found not guilty and then put to death because he's ticked off the wrong assassin. And this causes Matt Ingard to break down and admit the crime. He's found guilty, and Phoenix is like, yeah, I lost! Which confuses Franziska. And she gets mad and gives like her coat and her little whip thing to Miles Edgeworth and leaves. Then we're treated to a little sequence where Maya, Pearl, Phoenix, Larry, and Dick Gumshoe, they're reunited over like a platter of food and stuff, and it's good. pretty great little sequence there. And then we're given an even better sequence where you've got Franziska von Karma and Miles Edgeworth at the airport. And Miles he hands her back her whip and her coat and explains that being a prosecuting attorney, being a good attorney, being a prosecuting attorney or a defense attorney isn't so much about winning or losing. It's about finding the truth, which is the right attitude. It's okay to not have a perfect record or whatnot. If you have a perfect record here, in your conscience, in your soul, there's a difference between doing the right thing for your client and doing the right thing in total. Sometimes you have to take a fall to get something good out there, to get the truth out there, to find and establish innocence and guilt. And that's good. Sometimes doing the right thing hurts your reputation. Doing the right thing means you lose. But it's that doing the right thing which is important. And that's kind of a lesson you can take from this series. Being corrupt, winning at all costs, selling out your soul, that's not good. You need to be able to pursue the truth. Decide what you're standing for. Are you standing to win, or are you standing to be right? To be correct. To live for truth and justice. I mean, that's why this one's called for justice for all. Because justice has its own machinations, I guess you could say. Pretty much, I really liked it. It was pretty good. I thought it was great, and I would watch it again. Yeah. So, I really liked this. Let me know in the comments below. I think my favorite story arc, I liked the one when they were little kids. That was the original story arc. And I really liked the how the samurai case went, and how the I really liked how the circus case went. Those ones went pretty well. Overall, there's some stuff that they skimmed over. Some of it felt a little bit like the games are better on their portrayal of some of the cases, and then some of them, like the circus case, I felt the anime was better at portraying the case. I would love to see a second season of this. Let me know if you'd like to see a second season of these too, because I really liked it. I can't wait to see it get released in English so more people can see it. In a perfect world, they'll get this on like Toonami or something, because this is a series that would be great for that. It works, and it would get that out there. There's a Monster Hunter one coming out. Capcom seems to be pretty good for these, so I'll have to check that out at some point and decide whether or not I want to review it. But for right now, I was pretty happy with this. My favorite arcs were the original Samurai one and the circus one. And the end of story arcs, those were pretty good, and this one, while it felt a little rushed at points, was adequately presented in a great way. I especially love the sequence at the end with Miles and Francesca. That was fantastic. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite scene from this episode or your favorite scene from a previous episode was. And we'll discuss this. Let me know in those comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this if you haven't already. Like this if you haven't already. And until the next episode comes out, in a second season hopefully, or until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.